Hey everyone, it's Courtney here with another episode of Millennial versus Machine. Thank you for tuning in this week. We are on a quest to help you build a successful career in real estate. And let's kind of take it back just a little bit. The start of this season, we talked about the two pillars for a successful career in real estate, one being mindset, the other being systems. Okay. The last couple of weeks, I've talked about different mindsets to help you thrive, to help you navigate some of the more lean season, to help you navigate the normal ebbs and flows of the real estate cycle. Okay. And so today we're going to start tackling systems. Now, systems, there's so many different systems that we're going to talk about in this season, but the system that we're going to focus on today are systems for commanding your day. Before I dive deeper into this episode, we're on Instagram and YouTube, Millennial vs Machine. So definitely follow there. I'm posting different clips, just the highlights of these different episodes. Shout out to the folks that have been commenting, not only on Spotify, but also on my socials. I really, really appreciate it. So at the time of this recording, I will say that it's a very heavy time in the world. It's last week of June of 2025. And while a lot of the stuff that I post about has to do with helping you thrive, no matter if it's an up or down market in real estate, I really do think that the last couple of episodes dealing with mindset can help us navigate such a heavy time in the world. So I wanted to just drop that there. And I believe today, as we talk about systems for commanding your day, what I like to refer to commonly as your morning routine and your evening routine, that too can also help us navigate the day-to-day in real estate, but also such a heavy time in the world. So I didn't want to just gloss over that because even these things that I'm talking about today can apply to so many different parts of our life. So stay encouraged, be encouraged, and we're going to dive in today. So when I say systems like morning routine and evening routine, some of the things that I hear people say is like, oh my gosh, it's too rigid, or oh my gosh, it's really boring. And the reality to me, how I look at, morning routines, evening routines, is that it really does for me generate freedom, right? It allows for me to create structure so that I could really own my day and own my business rather than being owned by it, okay? Being ran raggedy because I'm chasing a deal or chasing clients or whatever the case may be. And so really my goal in today is to kind of help you change your thinking about different systems for commanding your day. I mean, at the end of the day, we all have the same 24 hours, okay? And even if you haven't thought about like your routines or your systems for commanding your day, maybe you're even thinking, oh, I don't have one of those. No, you actually do. You just might not be totally aware of what that is. But I guarantee we're creatures of habit. I guarantee that you're probably waking up typically at a similar time every day. You have your morning rituals, we'll call it. And my question to you is, are they really serving you? Are they helping you do what you want to do what you know you need to do, and to be the successful real estate professional that I know you can be? Okay. That's the question. Okay. Are you owning your days, or are they owning you? Now, this is really a efficiency component of our business, right? So there's a mindset component of morning and evening routines, but also efficiency. I really want to break the systems into two different categories, okay? Now, we're talking about systems for owning your day, for commanding your day. And I want to break it up into personal systems and then professional systems, okay? Because I just think it's important. It's important to own your day professionally, but also personally, so that you feel fulfilled, so that you get to do what it is that you want to do, or whatever it is God's calling you to do. So I want to start with the personal side of morning routines. Okay. I know I'm using a couple of different words interchangeably, but that's really what it is how are you starting your day off personally? Okay. So I like to think about my morning routine as, okay, this is essential for me to get my mind right before I start the day. All right. So, first thing I do, and shout out to my mom, make my bed, right? That's part of my personal morning routine. You just feel good about your space, right? Everything's tidy, it's orderly. The other part of my personal morning routine is seeking God's kingdom first, right? Matthew 6:33. That's what it says, okay? When we do this, all other things are added, okay? And I firmly believe and have lived that for many years, that not only does it help me get my mind right, it helps me stay in the reality that I am here for a purpose. And God has already written the day out for me, and I need to get his counsel before I even start my day, right? Get my daily bread, understand what is it that he wants me to do. Man, I could go on and on about this. I love this because it really does, I don't know, just really sets your mind on truth and reality so that you're not swayed by the heaviness of the world. You're not swayed into lies, really. That's a whole other topic for another day, but seeking first the kingdom is everything. Other parts of your morning routine, or my morning routine, and I'm sharing mine with you in hopes that you'll be inspired with your own morning routine, is exercise. Okay. I tried exercising and going to the gym at night. It does not work for me. I'm not a night owl. Okay. So morning exercise, morning reading, right? And it doesn't have to be hours and hours. It could literally be 5-10 pages, right? Again, when you do different things in the morning to get your mind right, you're setting you and your day up for success. But like, it allows you to just kind of center yourself before you really get started. And the last thing is just getting ready, right? We definitely have morning grooming routines, do our hair and shower and do all of those things. Those are the type of activities that I'm doing in the morning to get my mind right. And I'm challenging you to examine, maybe even take a pen and paper and write it down. Okay. Because believe it or not, you do have routines. Okay. And so write it down and examine, are they serving you? Are they going to get you to where you want to be and need to be? The other thing that I didn't talk about as it relates to the morning routine is wake up time. Okay. I am an early bird, have been that way my entire life, see nothing but benefits to being an early riser. Okay. So, I mean, I'm up between 5:30 every morning. Obviously, there's some things on weekends, a little bit more flexibility on weekends, but that for me helps me command my day. Now, you might be thinking to yourself, Courtney, I am not getting up that early, and that's fine. You don't have to, right? You just have to decide, what are the things that I need to do to pour into myself so that I can get my mind right and start my day off right. So that's the personal morning routine. Okay. Now, this is all for me personally. This is all before 8:00. All right. So then typically let's shift over to the professional side of my morning routine is, by 8:00, sometimes 8:15, 8:30, opening up my computer and starting my day. But check this out. There is a method. There should be a method to your madness, because what I've seen, and I've actually spoken with different agents and brokers, is sometimes they'll just dive in and it'll be very reactionary. Okay. What do I mean by that? You immediately open up your email box and you see you have hundreds of emails, right? And you start tackling those, but there's really no rhyme or reason. It's easy to get bogged down. It's easy to say, oh my gosh, there's so much, and then be overwhelmed. However, if you have a system for tackling your day, you won't be overwhelmed. Okay. So, I like to prioritize income producing activities and indirect income producing activities. Okay. So that first hour in the morning is, I'm usually clearing out my emails. Now I get a ton of junk and spam stuff. So I'm clearing out my emails. I'm responding to those ones that can just be easily responded to, getting them out of my inbox, clear that inbox down to ideally 50, but there's no like hard, fast rule. But that helps me kind of clear out the noise and then dive into my income producing activities. So that's typically the first hour of my work day. Okay. The second thing is, and we'll get into income and indirect income producing activities, is I am then taking the next hour, let's say from 9 to 10, and I'm working on any active deals, right? So that could be sending emails to title companies, to clients, anything that's active. I need to touch those to make sure that I'm in alignment. Now, real quick, this typically we're using our calendars, different milestones and reminders. So I'm looking at those things to make sure that I'm on track. And maybe I'm reaching out to my coordinator and just getting things where they need to be. Okay. That's the second hour of the day. Okay. Active deals. Okay. Third hour of the day. So that's, so we had 8 to 9 emails, 9 to 10. We've got active deals. And I would say from 10 to 12, typically I'm focusing on these income producing activities, right? Finding homes for clients, maybe nurturing customers that are already in my pipeline, staying top of mind. Sometimes this might be social media work, okay? But really, nurturing leads, generating leads, that is what I'm doing for a couple of hours every day. And this is all before noon. Okay. So think about it. When you're organizing your day, typically front loading that administrative stuff, right? Your marketing, your lead nurturing is going to be easier because people are looking at homes and wanting to meet with you typically in the afternoons and the evenings and weekends. Okay. So when you develop these systems for doing these administrative yet income producing activities, it's going to set you up to now, okay, you have everything organized. Now I get to go out into the field and meet with the people that I need to meet with, whether it be buyers, sellers, networking events, but you have the whole afternoon to do that, you guys, okay? So just recapping, we talked about morning routines. We talked about a personal morning routine and a professional morning routine that really sets your day up. Now, gosh, if you are a person that doesn't have a lot of structure right now, okay? And honestly, that tends to be a lot of salespeople because we wheel and deal, right? We wheel and deal, we put things together, and oftentimes the salespeople are not the best at the administrative work, okay? And so that's why if you are one of those people that just hasn't prioritized the administrative work, hasn't developed a system, then I think the key, especially developing personal and professional morning routines, is to start with something small, right? Because if you start putting pressure on yourselves to organize your time or your mornings, just like I've outlined here, and it's a drastic change all at once, the odds of you actually sticking with it are very low. Let's just be real. Okay. Let's be real. So maybe you start with one thing and you get really good at that for a few weeks and then you add to it. Okay. You know yourself. So what is going to work best for you? It's not a one size fits all thing. Okay. So, maybe if you struggle with getting up early, maybe you get up 15 minutes early for the next week and then up that to 30 minutes early. Right. I always believed, my parents taught me this. It's like when you are up, when everybody is asleep, you get so much more done, right? And you're so much more productive. Not to mention, you actually feel really good about yourself. So, anyway, that's what I would do. Okay, if you haven't been in your word, if you haven't been in the Bible, and you're like, I really want to do that, start with incremental changes and work your way up to that habit. You guys know I love the book Atomic Habits. A couple of seasons ago, I had Ebony on. Hey, Ebony. I had Ebony on my podcast where we talked a little bit about that. And it's a good book that helps you incrementally develop habits. And then this is going to require a habit, right? This is going to require you to exchange old habits with new habits. And if you do have some old habits that you are just like, ugh, I don't like this, right? This is tough. Give yourself grace, and know that there's a process. It's a process to develop discipline. Okay. And that's really what it is. But discipline does bring freedom, guys. I promise you. I promise you. I'd love to hear about maybe one thing that you would like to switch up in your morning routines over the next week that's going to help you get to the goals that you've set for yourself. All right. So that's the first part of commanding your day. All right. So let's go to talk about evening routines. Remember, this whole episode is about systems for commanding your day, right? And being very proactive versus reactive. That's really what this is all about. So I'm actually going to start with the professional part of evening routines, because typically this is how you're going to wind up your workday, and then we'll get to the personal stuff. Okay. So here's just a couple of things that I like to build into my evening routine. I always plan for the following day. Okay. That way I don't actually have to wake up and figure out what I'm going to do. I was mentoring a young lady, and I actually had her work on this, and I told her, I said, make a list of the things that you know you need to get done the following day, the night before. Okay. Because what she expressed to me is she was having a tough time sleeping because she was thinking about all of the things that she needed to do the following day. I said, girl, if you don't get a notepad and just jot it down, that is a way for you to dump that mental load, and you have your list of what you're going to start working on the following day. Okay. So plan for the following day. Again, it's about being proactive. You're going to feel better, and you're also going to be able to command your day. Another activity that I like to do when I'm winding down my professional evening is clearing my emails, right? Again, most of us real estate professionals, we're getting tons and tons of like junk email, open house reminders, broker open reminders, you name it. We're getting all kinds of stuff. I like to clean out my emails, those easy things to clear out before I wrap up my workday. Prepare for tomorrow's meetings. Okay. That's another part of your evening systems from the professional standpoint. So what does that look like? If you know you're meeting with a client to visit 3 or 4 homes, you're preparing those packets, right? So you don't have to like rush out the door or forget something on the printer when you go meet that client. You are going to show up super prepared. That's actually going to be a huge selling point when you're trying to earn the business from different customers and clients. Okay. Last thing that I do from a professional perspective as I wind down my day is I time block my priorities. Okay. Anybody that has worked with me is always like, Courtney, oh my gosh, your calendar is nuts. Like, what are you doing? I time block. I think I talked about this a couple of seasons ago on the pod as well. Time block is everything. It's structured. And for those of you that think that this is really rigid, it's not. It's as rigid as you make it. So for me, when I have these time blocks, I'm prioritizing. I know the deadlines that I've given myself. I know the deadlines that maybe other people have for me. And I am moving things around. So my calendar is actually like this living, breathing thing. It's not like, oh my gosh, I have to put this on my calendar at 2:00 tomorrow. And if it doesn't get done, I start freaking out. No, the more practice you have with this, the easier it becomes. But sometimes I have to move things around. Maybe one time blocked activity, from the previous day, just took a little bit longer. That's okay. I move things around. But I think that's crucial to owning your calendar and owning your day when you're prioritizing those different activities using time blocks. Okay. So we just talked about systems for winding your day down professionally. And now let's talk about systems for winding your day down personally. Okay. I didn't talk about that. Well, I talked a little bit about this at the beginning of this episode. So I have boundaries set for when I'm working. Okay. So typically I'm not going to look at my phone or my computer before 8 a.m. And then depending on if it's summer or fall or whatever, I might shut my workday down by 6, 7 p.m. Again, it depends. Right now it's summertime. So obviously Sometimes I'll work a little bit later, but you have to have boundaries, right? Otherwise you will run yourself raggedy, and we don't want that. That's part of why we're talking about systems for owning or commanding your day. So like I said, right now I'm probably shutting it down maybe 6:30 or 7-ish. And then that's when I start the personal time. So if I didn't read in the morning, then my wind down routine is maybe I'll read a little bit before I go to bed. Okay. Shower, stretching, right? If you're not an early bird, then maybe one of your wind down routines has to do with exercising in the afternoon or the evening, right? It's not a one size fits all thing. I've said that a couple of times. Okay. Last but not least, let's look at our social media consumption. Me personally, I usually shut down any social media consumption at least an hour before I go to bed because it impacts my sleep, okay? Especially with all the heaviness of the world. And so typically an hour before I go to bed, turn it off, right? Maybe that's when I'll do my stretching or whatever the case may be. You have to decide what works for you and really observe the patterns, right? And know that this evolves. So my morning and evening routines when I started in real estate 15 years ago are a little bit different than what I have right now because the different seasons of life, dictate the adjustments that we have to make. Okay. So I hope this is helpful. I hope this is giving you ideas of different things that you can easily implement into your day to own your day. And that is systems for owning your day via morning routine, evening routine, your wind up and your wind down. I would love to hear from you. I have a poll going here on Spotify. Drop in the comments if there's something in particular that resonated with you in this episode. I'd love to hear from you. And we will be back next week with another episode of Millennial versus Machine, where we dive into yet another system that's going to help you thrive in an up or down market. Take care. I will see you next week. Thanks so much for tuning in. Bye.